everyone, and oh my God, welcome to my podcast. I am so excited to be doing this, so excited to get to hang out with all of you, whoever you may be. So, welcome to Talking with Yourself, a podcast designed as a place to learn new things, talk about navigating the world, dealing with mental health, and just life in general. I'm your host, Sam Preston, and thank you so much for being here. Now, let's get into it. On a bit of a more deeper level, I wanted to talk about what this podcast is and why I'm doing it. This podcast, low-key, is also an excuse for me to learn new things, but at the same time, I wanted to be able to share both my own knowledge and what I'm learning from other people. Honestly, a podcast seemed like the perfect place to do that, and I've kind of always wanted to give it a try. I just kind of wanted a space where I myself, sometimes alongside guests as well, could just sit and talk about literally everything and anything. So I created this podcast as a space where we can talk about going through life. We discuss dealing with mental health, creating healthy habits, breaking stigma, or even just learning about new things in regards to all of those. And pretty much just a place to learn new things and hopefully bring them into my own or even your own life. It's kind of how I came up with the name for this podcast. I was brainstorming some names one night, and in a funny little twist of irony, I was talking with myself about what I wanted the podcast to be. Like genuinely out loud, muttering to myself. And I was saying how I wanted this podcast to be a place for people, myself included, to learn new things and be able to take them out into the world, however that may look for them. So it could be reflecting on what they've learned or talking with someone else about it and teaching them what they took away from that episode. So kind of through that reasoning, I came up with Talking with Yourself. I'm taking my knowledge or I'm learning from a guest and we're talking about it. You're hopefully taking something away from an episode and talking about it, and hopefully talking with other people about it and talking with yourself about it. I know it's kind of such a long-winded and roundabout way to get there, but I honestly promise that is the short version of the story. So now that we've talked about the podcast, let's talk about your host, moi. Like I mentioned before, my name is Sam. At the moment I'm filming this, I'm 22 years old and I'm in my last semester of university. Like I'm literally only a month or two away from completing an English and psychology degree, which is amazing because I've literally been at this for 5 years at this point, and I'm honestly so happy to be done. I was never a huge school person to begin with. I'm kind of hoping that when I graduate, I can just work for a little while, save up some money, and hopefully do some traveling. Surprise, surprise, I do have a life beyond school. I love reading and writing, and I'm sure I'll talk about this more at some point, but I'm actually in the process of writing a book at the moment, and I've been working on it for quite a while. I've been putting a lot of thought and effort into it, and the dream is definitely one day to get published, mostly for my own personal goals. I absolutely love being active, so right now, kind of going through what people joke about it being the 20-year-old something crisis of loving running. And actually, I ran a 10K fundraiser recently, which was so exciting and felt so accomplishing. I also do love playing sports though, so baseball, hockey, field hockey, kind of grew up on those. Now, if you already follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, please go do, you will notice I talk quite a bit about mental health, and that's because I've struggled with my own mental health. I am most vocal about my experience with an eating disorder. So I struggled mostly throughout high school, and through my recovery, I actually became a part of a nonprofit called the Recovered Project. If you haven't already, I absolutely urge you to go check them out. Doing some amazing things, have some amazing projects running, and we're always looking for volunteers. I've always dreamed about doing something big and fun, and this podcast is me doing literally just that. I'm here to share, learn, and just kind of chit chat with you all. I will say though, keep this in mind as the episodes go on. I'm not a professional, and most of what I talk about is going to be based off my own experiences or from research I've done. So essentially, take everything I say with a grain of salt. You probably shouldn't be trusting things you hear online anyways, so this is a good practice for that. But beyond all of that stuff, I am really excited to do this. And I've got some really fun ideas and some awesome guests already lined up that I just cannot wait to share with you guys. I also, through some thinking about how I wanted this podcast to go and what I wanted it to be, I kind of came to the conclusion that I want to end my episodes by just saying something nice or some form of affirmation and kind of leaving you all with something to go into your days or your weeks or however long. So, kind of in the spirit of this being an introduction episode and kind of getting into things, I'll start now. So, let me just say you are crushing it today. I see you trying, however that may look, and you're doing an awesome job. So, pat yourself on the back for it. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in for this short little intro episode. And I am so excited for the first episode to come out, and I really hope you'll give it a chance and tune in. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Talk to you all very soon. Bye.